Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day life. Let's start with the video.
My 28F parents are organizing a family holiday abroad and have approached me stating that they will be paying for my sister's 30F holiday but not mine. This is because to them, I can afford it and she cannot. And that is the only way we would all be able to go on vacation together. They can't pay for us both. That it's their money and they can do as they wish with it. And that I am in a good spot financially right now and my sister isn't. If I ever find myself in a bad spot, they will help me out. But to me, it's not that simple. I am more financially stable than my sister because I have chosen to live in a cheaper area, despite being further from my friends, followed a career path where financial security is guaranteed, and always live well within my means. Whereas my sister has followed a career path which is, unfairly, I admit, underpaid, insisted on living close to her friends despite the high rent, and likes to spend more money on her lifestyle. My parents think the crux of it is that I am lucky that my passion lines up with a well-paying job, and my sister is unlucky that her passion does not, so my sister deserves more help due to that bad luck. They also think that I am lucky to have a partner that I could move away to a cheaper area with. And my sister, who doesn't currently have a serious partner, is unlucky in that respect. So it would be a great deal to move away from her friends and therefore again unlucky. Again, they insist if the tables turn and our fortunes are reversed, they would help me out. Am I the a-hole for refusing this holiday and choosing one with my friends at the same time instead? If the money thing wasn't there, I would probably have chosen this family holiday. But I feel like my frugal decisions are now being punished and that is unfair. I'm not angling for my parents to pay for me too, and I also feel kind of bad of suggesting indirectly my sister pay for hers. But I still feel really hard done by and that my sister is being coddled and the fact that she spends quite a lot on a day-to-day basis, much more than me, is being rewarded. My parents and sister think I am being money hungry and not very compassionate to my sister's unlucky love life and underpaid profession. This is stopping us from going on a vacation, all four of us, which is upsetting my parents. Edit. People keep accusing me of judging my sister's spending. I'm not judging it at all. I think it's great she goes out and has a good time. We're just different. But at the end of the day, I'm still asked to spend more than her on the same things. It makes my sacrifices not feel worth it. It's more a comment on the savings I do to be able to afford this holiday, rather than exactly what she isn't doing in order to not afford it. Edit 2. My solution to this problem isn't to insist she pays and either bankrupts herself or doesn't go. I don't want that at all. We would never go without her if she couldn't afford it. So please stop telling me that's my ideal solution. I think we should find a cheaper holiday or move the holiday back if she wants time to save or prioritize it over another holiday next year. I also would be fine if the money on each of us was proportional to salary so that I wasn't made to feel like my frugality was for nothing, as that would be irrelevant. Edit 3. A lot of people are calling me jealous of my sister. That's kind of the point of this post. I am both slightly jealous of her lifestyle, it's more fun than mine, and jealous that my parents seem to have a favorite from behavior like this. I don't care how she spends her money, but if that means she can't afford a vacation, that's the result of it. The perk of me not having as much fun as her day-to-day is being able to afford vacations. I have an issue when I'm asked to spend those savings and my sister isn't, and then have been made to feel bad about not going on the holiday. Am I the a-hole, or are my parents, not my sister, the a-holes for getting mad and name-calling because I'm not coming? Not the a-hole. It's their money to spend how they like and on who they want, just like it's your money to spend how you want and who you want. You made your choices to live within your earning bracket, while your sister, from your words, chooses to live above her means, knowing the income isn't there. Let them go on a vacation together, while you go on a vacation with friends. Not the a-hole in my opinion. Why can't your parents pay half for you and half for your sister? Then you both pay the remainder, and it's fair. Your job security, financial security has nothing to do with this. They're just using it as an excuse. To make it fair, I'd tell them to pay half for each. Or the three of them can go on a holiday and you'll do something else. No a-holes here. Your parents can do what they want with their money, even if it feels unfair to you. They seem to have this well thought through, and to me, their reasoning seems sound. You, however, have every right to feel a bit hard done by, particularly as you feel your sister is partially responsible for her lack of funds. If you feel you'd enjoy a holiday with your friends more than a family holiday, there is nothing a-hole-ish about choosing not to go with your family, as long as you're doing it for that reason and not just out of spite and childishness. Next story. I have two vehicles. A 2019 Mazda Miata. It's not great in the winter when it doesn't have snow tires on. A 2002 Ford Transit. A really beat up old van which I use for road trips. It's not really #van life stylish even though I camp in it. It's beat up and I disguised it as an electrician's work van, complete with vinyl logos advertising my business to avoid unwanted attention when traveling. Anyway, my boyfriend had a work function coming up and he asked if I could be his designated driver, since his company culture kinda depends on heavy drinking to fit in. He wanted me to join for the event for appearance sake. Apparently, all his peers' wives were joining. The day of, it looked like snow, so I decided to drive the van. I pulled up to my boyfriend's office. He came out and immediately asked me where my Miata was. I said it was at home because it was looking like snow. He asked if we could stop by the apartment and get the Miata. He was already embarrassed enough getting in the van from his office where people could see. I said no, I wasn't comfortable driving it in snow with summer tires. He said I was really making him look bad. I should have known he was trying to make a good impression. I said I'd park somewhere discreet. So we headed to the bar, and it turned out the parking area was quite small, a single row across the front of the building right in front of the windows. I parked in the corner. My boyfriend was stressed when I opened the back of the van looking for my wallet because he thought someone inside might see the bed inside, so he said he'd put everything on his card, just shut the doors. So we went in, and one of his coworkers asked if I'm an electrician. I joked, close, I'm an electrical engineer, so like an electrician but more out of touch. His coworker asked me why I had an electrician's van, and I said I'd bought it used. This is a white lie. While it is a used van, I'd applied the logo. His coworker asked me why I'd got a van, and I said I like road tripping and I like how it's more compact than an RV. This led to a little small talk about where I traveled, and I told them about my last cross-country trip to the West Coast. But afterwards, my boyfriend confronted me in the van and said that it was attention-grabbing, that he was embarrassed by me talking about traveling and living in a van. I got frustrated and said I wasn't trying to make a scene. His coworkers asked, and that honestly, if he was depending on me for rides, beggars can't be choosers. And I'm not doing something I don't think is safe just for appearance. He got upset with me and said I don't respect his character, and I said that I felt like he didn't respect mine either if he wanted me to roll up to his work events like a trophy wife, for display instead of someone with their own shiz going on. Am I the a-hole for how I drove my boyfriend to his work event? Not the a-hole. Driving with summer tires on snow is courting death for you and whoever you crash into. If he was that obsessed with appearances, he could have rented a car for you to drive, or even better, hired a chauffeured car so you both could safely imbibe. The bigger issue is his complaining about you talking to his colleagues. Being an electrical engineer is cool. Driving cross-country is cool. Isn't being cool what he's trying to do? You should ask yourself if a guy who wants you to be seen, not heard, while he gets smashed with his work bros and who doesn't understand traction is really your idea of a good life. Not the a-hole. Snow and Miata should never be in the same sentence unless it includes a horrendous accident. You were the designated driver. You brought a safe vehicle to drive in inclement weather. None of his coworkers blinked an eye. There's only one a-hole in this story, and it's not you or your boyfriend's coworkers. Not the a-hole. There are so many other ways to protect his fragile ego rather than arguing with and demeaning his wife. First of all, he can have you drive his car. Second, he can play up the fact that converting vans and customizing them is very trendy right now. And his girlfriend is a badass engineer tackling a project. Third, he can spring for an Uber. So many options here. My husband here as of late has also adopted the strange attitude of being critical and telling me what other people think of me, and it's exhausting. Sometimes I have to shut down how it makes me feel and just look at it from a logical perspective. There is nothing in the world wrong with your van. Next story. Today, I went for a job interview for a children's complex care assistant position. Right from the start, I stressed that I want part-time only, roughly 24 hours a week. The manager of the company was happy with that on the phone and then invited me to the interview. From the off, she came across as desperate for staff. Spoke extremely quickly, didn't give me time to answer, asked absolutely zero interview questions about me. Halfway through, she says, "Don't you think you're overqualified for this position? Why don't you be my deputy manager? It'll be 40 hours a week." To which I stressed again, I want part-time only. Anyway, the interview carried on with her pushing me for more hours. No questions about myself or experience. Then she said she was nipping to her office to get a care plan. I waited for 35 minutes before going to look for her. Her assistant informed me that she had gone to another meeting halfway through my interview. So I got my stuff and left. 3 hours later, she rang me up and said I start on Thursday, be at this address at this time, etc., etc. I calmly told her that I had neither been offered a job nor accepted a job as of yet. I am also working my notice at my last job, which she was aware of, and I will not be showing up on Thursday. She told me to ring in sick at my current job and start for her. She then started talking about my DBS check that she had already started processing. I said that I hadn't consented to a DBS check yet as I hadn't agreed to work for her. She then got shizzy about it all, saying I was unprofessional and her assistant had said I had left in a mood from the interview and that if I wasn't taking the position then I needed to pay the £60 for the DBS check that she had applied for without my permission. I told her that I would neither pay for the check nor accept a job at her company and put the phone down. She has since called me 14 times, left 3 voicemails, and texted me 5 times claiming I am unprofessional and a time waster. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. I can see why they are desperate for staff. If they disrespect you and your time even before you're on payroll, I can't imagine what a shiz show it'll be once you start. It'll be extra hours and we're family and you'll need to pull your weight when she tries to force you to do other duties. Then she harasses you after the fact. If there's no place to report her behavior, then you can at least leave a Google review or whatnot. Not the a-hole. I actually interviewed a number of years ago for a woman who was very similar. She was 100 miles per hour and wouldn't really allow me to talk. Then, after all was said and done, I didn't hear from her. I interviewed on a Thursday, I believe. Come Monday, she was losing her mind, wondering why I wasn't there at work. I said, "Because you never told me I had been hired?" Long story short, I didn't go work for her because she was a hot mess. I suspect their employer is that way, disorganized, demanding, and assuming. It's good that you learned this now instead of after you'd accepted the job. Not the a-hole. She called you unprofessional? The same person who left an interview midway through it and left you just sitting in the room? That must have been pretty awkward. She appears to be the female version of Basil Fawlty, running a childcare. You don't want to work for someone this disorganized. I take it one step further too. Is there an ombudsman or government agency where they have to report to? I'd call them and explain what happened. If she's this bad with managing an office, who knows what's happening with the kids under her care? Here's the next story. Okay, so I, 38M, have a wife, 36F, and 4 children ages 8 to 14. My buddies and I found some great deals on Super Bowl tickets in LA, so we bought the tickets and we flew out on the day before the Super Bowl. Even though neither the Rams nor the Bengals are my favorite team, I was very excited to watch the halftime show with some of my favorite rappers in it. Should also note that this was the first Super Bowl I have attended. Here's the catch. The day of the Super Bowl was also my wife's birthday, and she was planning on just having a day to herself, going to the mall with friends, and getting a spa treatment. However, because I'm out of town, she had to take care of the kids that day. I offered to pay my eldest $200 to take care of the younger siblings while my wife was out, but he said he wanted to go to the gym to hang out with his buddies. My wife wasn't exactly happy with the fact that she had to take care of the kids on her birthday, but I offered to treat her to a date at her favorite restaurant later, and while still sad, she agreed. However, when I got back home yesterday, she started screaming at me and calling me an a-hole. She hasn't spoken to me since and is right now out of the house. Am I the a-hole for going to the Super Bowl and leaving her with the kids at home? Edit. Should probably mention I offered a babysitter for the younger children, but my wife declined as the kids have had trouble in the past with babysitters. Edit 2. Seeing the comments down below, I get it, I effed up. I was being an immature, pathetic a-hole, and I do not deserve such a great person as my wife. But if you could all please tone down the "you're the a-hole" on my 14-year-old. Come on guys, he's just a kid. I will apologize to her immediately after she gets home and will tell you guys about the makeup vacation I will plan for her once I ask her about it with her full agreement. Thanks for allowing me to realize my mistakes. Also, for those wondering about the amount of money I spent, I have my own business and my wife also has a high-paying job, but she is typically not a huge money spender. Edit 3. My wife came back home and we talked a little. She says that she's willing to forgive me as I have admitted and apologized to her for effing this up. To make it up for her, I will buy her and her two best friends tickets to the Maldives. This is my wife's #1 bucket list place to go, and I talked to the kids about treating their mother with respect and told them that I would try to set a better example for them. The kids listened closely and my 14-year-old agreed he should have been more considerate. The younger ones are currently making cards for their mom about how much they love her, and the older one has already promised to make a special breakfast for her. You're the a-hole. Your solutions you offered are worthless. A babysitter doesn't work since your kids have issues with sitters, and those issues fall on her. The oldest isn't going to keep all the kids out of her hair. And dinner is absolutely worthless compensation for you forcing her to cancel her entire day of plans. You're the a-hole. Who prioritizes a game over their wife's birthday? Those tickets are thousands of dollars, not including the transportation to the games. Why didn't you pay for someone else to babysit your kids? You obviously didn't take your wife's feelings into consideration at all since this game was more important to you. You should have planned this out, locked in a sitter, not your unreliable 14-year-old son, and made sure your wife was cool with all of this.